So in part one of this video, I showed you how to play the early game of a Civilization 6 setup with Christina, and we had a really fast start. We got to feudalism in a good time. We settled a lot of cities. In this episode, we're going to show you how to transition into the middle game and the late game, how to get to labs quickly, and then how to finish the game out strong, building the spaceship projects, etc. Let's get into it.
You can see the other recipes for success is when the AI settles a city. That's going to be a gift to you later. So, Guitar just settled a city down there, which is going to be ours later, and we did not have to pay for it. Thank you very much. Guitarsha, we will take that in the next era gladly. You can see we're really getting a lot of cities settled pretty early in the game. And look at those trade routes, man. That is so good. 4 food, 3 production, a little bit of gold. You gotta love it. We're gonna get machinery right away, and that is gonna be really good. We're gonna just put a couple turns into that campus and then basically hard build Kilwa and chop it out. And we're not gonna switch Magnus over because you need Magnus in the capital to manage those trade routes. You need to have him there to get that +2 food on those trade routes. So we'll keep Magnus away. We'll just hard chop all those. We'll hard chop that wonder out. Luckily, it's a lot of woods and not a lot of rainforest, so woods is just all production on those chops. We'll try to get that wonder built as soon as we can. See, we've explored a lot of the map. There's still a lot of the map to explore. Particularly the southern part of the map is pretty untouched at this point. I haven't really found it. Get that era score for the campus. Now we've overshot era score. So not great there, but see these cities already basically done everything. I mean, it's so early in the game and the city's already built. That's our 4th city that we settled, and it's basically almost done everything. It's built a campus and a commercial hub, and it's just rocking and rolling, and it's on its way. And this city's already got that down because this city is never building that district this early if it doesn't get the trade route. That trade route is so good. This city is not good without the trade route. It doesn't have production, but the trade route makes it good. The trade route allows it to build this commercial hub and IZ relatively quickly. So I think it's something that you all should try to implement in your gameplay if you're not already doing it. I know the multiplayer people are already doing it, but I mean, if you're not doing this, I mean, you're missing out. This is so good. Now this is probably a little bit late to be settling the Ruhr Valley City. Ruhr Valley City has not been settled yet, but it's about to be settled soon. And unfortunately, I realized that we're going to get scouted. And when you get that notification before turn 90 about all those cities settled, you know you're in a pretty good place. So we're feeling pretty good about this game. This is about when I realized that we've really figured this one out. We're onto something. This game's looking really good, and we are gonna. I wanted to buy that and chop that marsh, so I'm kind of delaying placing that. I'm like, oh, should I place it? No, I'll chop it out. And so I just go into the monument and we'll wait and chop that out when we can. So I find that it's always good at some point in your game to take a little break and really just investigate the situation. And I took some time to do that here, a little bit beforehand. And you can see where we are. We're at quite a few cities. We're at turn 87. Thinking about where I want to finish up my settling. And at this point, I've made the decision that I am not going to do any more commercial hubs first. I'm going to start with campuses, and in fact I've already done that. If you can see in Karlstad, I believe I've started with a campus, and so it's kind of at this point where because the tempo is where it is, if I open commercial hubs, the value is actually still, at some point it does, like the return on investment is a little bit lower because it kind of requires the next city to get value from it. So if I'm stopping my settling or not settling as much or as often, then I can work in the campus ahead of time. And so you can see me placing there for a cheaper district cost. This point depends on like where you are in the game, but I would say in general, I think after your first 4 or 5 cities are definitely going to have it, and then your next round of settlers should probably have it. In this case, my next round was like 2 additional cities, so 2 additional cities got the commercial hub. But then after that, if you're going for a fast science victory, you probably want to just stop and make campuses, because you're just the return on investment is a little too slow. We need to actually start ramping up our science, and at this point you can see we really don't have a lot of science. We're at 42 science per turn at turn 87, and that is not on track. Well, it's totally fine as long as I can get the science in the next 50 turns. It has to explode. So going commercial hubs later slows it down. Basically, as soon as those commercial hubs are not allowing you to send trade routes to your capital city, they're not worth it anymore. So if your commercial hub is not able to do that right away, it's simply bad. And you would rather have a campus giving you science right now. So you can see we could go free inquiry or monumentality. I decided to go for monumentality here. Free inquiry was probably a play because it had enough commercial hubs, but a couple of them didn't have adjacency. That 10% tech cost discount cannot be discarded, but I just thought I could really get a lot of value out of monumentality in this era because it had so much gold. That's a lot of gold per turn, 253 for this point in the game. If you notice how earlier I was selling Diplo favor, which you should always be doing against the AI. They value that a lot. In that same type of vein, you should always be purchasing luxury resources from the AI as soon as you can. You definitely want to have positive amenities, and you definitely would like to have +3 at least amenities in all your cities. Not always possible, depending on your game, depending on the spawn, and if the AI is improving their luxuries or not. You cannot always control that, but if possible, you should try to maintain that. It's totally worth the gold to get those amenities. And I'm just kind of looking around my empire, trying to decide how am I going to proceed forward, how am I going to continue to accelerate the game. Just kind of considering what to do next. Recorded history, probably not. I think I'm going to switch out of that. I'm going to go to military training because I can get the boost for recorded history. And thinking about small things like that, like, oh, I can probably get the boost for this. I think that also allows you to elevate your game by just taking the time to consider those small details. And you really only have the mental capacity to consider those small details if you take breaks. It's really tough to go like a full 4-hour session and just play all the way through. You're definitely going to make mistakes, and it's going to be a little bit sloppy at some point because you're just going to get fatigued. So definitely recommend just like playing to a certain point. If the game looks good, take a second and just like chill, relax, come back to it, and see how you do. see right now I'm around turn 100. I'm about to get exploration. Really good. Colosseum is finished. I've actually been able to get a lot of culture. I don't know if I mentioned this before. I think I used Ayuthaya to get that extra 10% culture from buildings, and that's actually been, I think that's been carrying my culture. You can see turn 100, I am almost done Kilwa. I'm not starting Kilwa at turn 100, I'm almost finished it. That's really important. You never know when the AI is going to try to prioritize getting that wonder, and you can see I'm still prioritizing my scouting. So far, I've only discovered 3 scientific city-states. I'm going to need to find more to win the game. Even with Geneva, to win fast, I'm realizing that everything's in place, but I just don't have the city-states I needed. So I'm looking around, trying to find them, and you'll see I'll start to prioritize scouting a bit more. I do unlock exploration, which I think most of the time is the right choice for this type of challenge. So she got some policies. Okay, so as you can see here, I discover Anshan and Hattusa with one scout, and that's why you got to scout. This changes the whole game. These extra 2 scientific city-states. Now we've got plenty of scientific city-states, particularly since we've got Geneva. 5 is so good. Really only need 4 probably if you have Geneva, but 5, wow, really great. We're gonna switch over to get those additional envoys when we put one in, and we're just checking to see if we can get any of those quests done. I think Anshan wanted the trebuchets, so we'll do that at some point. And I'm trying to, I do this because I want this camp to become another city-state. So I'm trying to, I can't really kill it, so I'm really hoping I can transform that one into a city-state and get even more city-states in the game. And I'm also trying to do the same thing with the boat camp up there. I'm hoping it becomes a city-state at some point because it's not really a threat. My city isn't coastal, so I guess if they got privateers they could pillage, but as of right now there's nothing to pillage. So I really just want that barbarian to become a city-state. So here you notice an important part of the game. I got this trade route. I'm about to get Diplo League, and I've got an allied, so I'm starting the transition into sending to external trade routes. I'm going cultural this route. I like to go cultural in general because if I'm focusing on science, you still need culture to win a science victory. So that's one way that you can try to get culture. is to send those trade routes to allies for culture. It's not going to change the world, but it's going to help you out a lot. You're much more likely to get to some of those really late cultural civics if you do that. And another thing I'll point to your attention is it is now almost turn 110, and we are now exploding on science. Now that's a combination of a couple things. We were able to use Geneva. We found 2 additional scientific city-states. We got Kilwa in that time. And we prioritized building campuses in our X-bands, in our later X-bands anyway. And you still realize that most of our cities still have trade routes sending somewhere. We still have 11 trade routes. We don't need, 13 trade routes right now isn't actually going to make that much difference. There is a point where you switch over to campuses, and I think finding that timing is something that'll take experience, but if you can master it, you're going to explode into your science at the right time, and we are rolling through text right now. We're going to explode right onto industrialization, and from there into labs. So this is looking really good right now. We've got universities finishing before 110. That's really great. These cities don't always have a trade route like this city that's looking at right now, Helsingborg, but it's totally fine. Most of our cities do, and of course, not all of our cities have campuses yet. Like our capital doesn't just barely got a campus out. Or I guess it's had a campus, but it doesn't have an industrial zone yet. But this city here, Linköping, doesn't have a campus yet, but you can see that we're really starting to get a lot of science going at the right time. So as you can see, we are turn 114. We're going to be in industrialization at turn 115. That is really good, particularly considering we opened with commercial hubs. That's insane. We are at a great science number. Our science number is only going to continue to grow. We still have more universities to build in our cities, still some cities without campuses, and we're just getting some other filler districts in, getting some industrial zones as additional districts in some other cities. Here's Aurora Valley City Lund, so of course we want to prioritize, we already finished the workshop there, so we're just going to get the science buildings when we have the chance. And I don't think I mentioned this before, but this is kind of for the girls, this map, or this spawn. We've got 7 ladies and Gandhi, but I feel like Gandhi is kind of one of the girls too, so positive connotation, of course. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the Golden Age, and I really like to go for Reform the Coinage. When we've got this many trade routes, and we started to send them externally, it's so much money. And see, a couple cities, we're finishing up our libraries and campuses, and we are at sanitation, and we are at 500 science per turn. It is turn 128. We are rocking and rolling. This is really, really blazing fast. I've had games where I'm not really fully done getting all my science by this turn. I've had games where I'm not at industrialization by this turn. We are well above and beyond track to have a fast game here. We're actually a little bit slow to build Ruhr Valley. We'll have to get an engineer to build it quickly. And we're just kind of moving our scout around to find, I know there's a camp that way. I want to get eyes on it so I know when it turns into a city-state. And man, we are just rolling. We're going to try to get that Filippo Brunicheski, great engineer. And from here on out, the game is pretty straightforward. There'll be a couple other additional interesting moments, but once you get to labs in time, a lot of the game kind of plays itself. You've done the hard part. And I'd say like labs in time, I used to think 150 was in time. I've never won a game where I've been to labs like even close to 150. Usually you gotta be like 145 or lower, I think, to really feel good about winning a science victory under turn 200. As you can see, we're going to hit labs turn 134 with 600 science per turn. Insane. That's probably the fastest I've ever gotten to labs on standard speed. And we are just going to start switching over everything to chemistry labs, with the exception of our Ruhr Valley city and a couple of extra cities who are maybe finishing something up and are almost done. We'll finish Ruhr Valley there and then go into labs. We've got so much money. That's a lot of money per turn. 440. It's going to continue to grow as more of our trade routes get converted into external trade routes. We are just getting labs in all these cities. Some of these we might start and then we'll finish up later. We're going to finish that market, get that trade route done. This goes right into labs. We'll probably end up buying that one as well. And that city in the north we settled a bit earlier on, and that is our 14th city that we have in total. And then I'm super on board with settling a couple cities later and literally just chopping out a campus and either chopping out a library and the rest of the other buildings, or just buying them. Just buy the library, buy the university in those northern cities, which are bad cities. They're not going to help your empire out overall, but they are going to give you science. So, getting some science cities later is always a nice idea. Just about finding time to get that settler and finding the money to buy all those additional buildings. You will have to buy labs for all of those cities, so keep that in mind. You can't go crazy with them or they'll never really get everything built, and they do eat amenities, so that you do want to make sure that you're able to get all those science buildings to justify placing those cities. And as this game goes on, once labs are done, it is a simple formula. It is just about getting You go into the space. Why can't I think of rocketry? Get into rocketry, get into the moon landing, go all the way down to and basically just get all the rest of the space projects. And after that, it's pretty straightforward. We're not going to do late war in this game. We are going to, because of Geneva, stay at peace the whole game. If we did not have Geneva seized, we would try to declare a late war and pillage to get a lot of extra culture and science. But because we have Geneva, we're not going to do that this game. It is not necessary. And in fact, worse, if you have Geneva, it is much more science, I believe. I find it very difficult to justify not having that 15% bonus, personally. So we just finished, we're about to get into democracy, which is, in my opinion, almost always the correct choice for that second to last government tier, because as we'll see, those extra amenities are crucial. I think I'm hovering around +2 or +3 in most of my cities for amenities, and those extra amenities are really valuable. Amenities give you production too, by the way, so we're going to definitely go into democracy. We've got a lot of external trade routes as well. We're going to plug in New Deal without even using our brain. We'll probably plug in liberalism as well, and of course we'll keep Republican legacy in there. And then for that military policy, we're gonna probably swap in to military research temporarily, and then probably switch on over to logistics to get faster builder movement. But as you can see, once this is done, the science jumps up again, and we are gonna also, of course, that affects your production as well, and we've been able to get a lot of additional culture. One nice thing about Sweden is their building does give you additional culture, so we've been able to take advantage of that building, as well as those international external trade routes to get enough production in order to get up to that extra 5% per city-state SUSed. I forget what that's called, but that is a very crucial one, and we will at some point need it, and we're going to get it pretty quickly here. So I wanted to give a chance here to check out the tech tree. You can see what we got. We got a really early smart materials, which is nice, but the last tech is a little bit far away. That was probably a pretty average tech tree. You can see we're already five light years traveled, and we're just getting builders where we can. We're trying to max out our science. We see we got that policy in, so we're hitting over 2,000 science per turn, which is your end game science where you'd like to be, so that you're one-turning techs, and we're going to one-turn every single tech except for the last one. And we did have a storm come through here and ruin our buildings, which is not so good. But you can see, you know, in cities where we need the builders, we're going to build builders. In cities where we're doing nothing, we're just going to work science. And you can see I'm lining up my builders on tiles that I can chop. And if you see this, my Ruhr Valley city, I'm getting builders on every forest, and I'm actually going to be able to get 3 projects done in one turn, just because of chopping in that city, which is so valuable to get those projects off the ground quickly, and it really probably saves you about a turn or two in the end when you are really good about chopping those forests down and other choppables at the end of your science victory plans. You can see there's off-world mission, and it's not the best tech tree ever, but it's okay. Could be worse, could be better. Probably very fair. And here we go as we're finishing up this game, about to research off-world missions. It's turn 180, and we are gonna, you can see I've set my builders around. I'm gonna, in cities that don't have anything, I'm literally just gonna shift end turn so that we're not overflowing production. Or so I guess we're overflowing the maximum amount of production. I think that's how that works. And we're just gonna buy builders where we can. We've got so much money, don't know what to do with it. Always a good place to be. That's the most amount of money I've ever had in a game, 8,500 gold per turn. That's the richest I've ever been, period. And we are just gonna chop everything out here. And as this game finishes up, I'll show the end of it, but this is a one game. This is gonna end up being turn 185 victory. And you can see we're just getting ready to chop here. Unfortunately, the game does, I'm still like making all these decisions. Again, does it really matter? I don't know. I'm just trying to be the most efficient I can be and try to win as fast as possible. Because I know this is going to be a PR, or I'm pretty sure it's going to be a PR at this point. So I'm just trying to optimize everything as much as I can as we research this final technology. And I'll just show, there we go, we get it. And kind of done there, just research future tech, and that's all we do. And I just want to show this too. We get how many projects we get off in this one turn. We go for the one which costs aluminum, which we've got quite a bit stockpiled, and because we did this, we're just going to chop one and then another. I believe we get at least 2 chopped this turn. No, they're almost chopped, and yeah, then this one chops. That comes out, and then I think maybe next turn we'll get one more. Over the end turn maybe next turn I guess I'll get the next one. So about, I guess, 2 and a bit in one turn there, and we'll of course chop wherever we can. So I'll just show the, as we cross through the victory screen, do a couple last second deals here, but this is over, and on the end turn we are going to win the game. So ended our turn on 185, so that's a 185 victory. We win as Sweden, and my fastest ever science victory on standard speed. Pretty exciting stuff. Just here I am just talking about the Empire a little bit more, about kind of what went right here, and in summary, I think what went right was, the space was so huge. Having this much space is amazing. Early relic is nice. That's good too. Luck, we got 2 free cities. We stole a settler, and we won a city through loyalty flipping. And yeah, you could say, oh, that's lucky, but it's kind of like, if you're playing, if you're a football team, and the other team throws you the ball right in your hands, you've got to catch it. And so we caught the pass that was thrown to us, and we tried to take advantage of it, and we made the best game we possibly could. And I think to have fast wins, you have to have a couple lucky breaks. But certainly, we had a lot of lucky breaks in this game. We had Geneva in the game. We were able to make Kilwa work, but we fought to make Kilwa work. That was not a given or guarantee. We earned Kilwa there. We built it really early. We invested a lot of resources into that. We were able to get Temple of Artemis built, which was probably quite lucky. I'll admit that was quite lucky because we went really late on building that. That really made our capable decent, at least. Otherwise, it would have been quite bad. We made so much money, as you can see there. And at the end of the game, we just executed what we need to. And I think just in terms of the gameplay, just flipping over towards starting with only commercial hubs and then finding that right point to flip to just science. I mean, you saw the difference between turn 87 and turn like 115. I mean, it was like 300 science or something between those crucial turns in the game, and kind of you'll build experience in recognizing when you need to just flip towards science, and that's it. So this was a fun game. I just wanted to share it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe learned something about how to play Civilization 6 a little bit better and win faster science victories against the Deity AI.